things that's true about the church in all times is that the church lives and exists and has its being in a particular place and time in the world, in culture, and the church is always called to respond to the place in which it finds itself. And here we are in the 21st century in North America. What is the place of the church in these new waters, in this cultural time in which we find ourselves?
Yeah, I think as people tend to be less, I grew up thinking, people are going to be negative against the church. I think most people are so indifferent. Like, they don't even know enough to be angry. They're like, oh, you guys are nice. Like, I'll come to something you do. Where people the media is out to get...
Oh, people still do that?
But yeah, people are out to get us. The fear narrative is so dominant in some of our contexts. It's like, oh, they're trying to shut down. They don't want kids to pray in the schools now. I'm like, do you even pray at home? No. I'm like, so what are you talking about? It's like, it's so weird. And more people are like, they're just indifferent, which is actually more challenging than just being angry. So I don't know, Nate, you were going to add to that.
No, this is along the same lines. There's genuine confusion. I haven't seen a lot of antagonism. I don't live in the sense of, man, we need to claw back the authority we once enjoyed, because in my lifetime I haven't felt that authority. It's maybe something that is way in the back. But so I live in a context where some people have been bruised by a powerful church, perhaps, but it's not the dominant reality. It's just more, what the heck? Why do these places still exist, really? And why when we hear them, it's just like the shouts of a drowning person.
And we don't know what to do when people are not our enemies, right? It's like we have a version of Christianity that's been around for years. It's like we only know how to be Christians if we have an enemy. And for the first time, we have a world that's like, we don't even care. Like, we're not even fighting with you. And we're like, what? You're supposed to be...
Don't you want to fight?
Don't you want to fight with me? They're like, no. We hope it works for you.
But that's a sad commentary that people don't even care. They're not aware of the church.
We're irrelevant.
Does that mean the church is irrelevant?
100%.
And so if in these new waters we want to be relevant, then we better be out in community and making a difference and bringing hope and wholeness and healing.
I don't disagree with things of what we've said. And generally, I would say my experience is that people just kind of, they pat us on the head and say, oh, isn't that nice? But there is a current... I think it's like that as long as we're nice to everyone. When the church asserts itself in culture today, and when by assert, I mean if we stand for an issue, or if we make a claim, or if we, whatever that might be, people stop sort of just patting us on the head and they actually go hold it.
Well, in my
that's
context,
toxic.
Yeah,
that's not allowed anymore.
Right, you're saying about the intolerance of that, right?
Right.
I think in my context, one of the first reactions against that is from other Christians. So the world, just because they're late to the game, they're like, "Oh, you guys said something important," and now they're watching Christians fight against Christians because we're not that kind of. So even when we say the church, like,
who is that anymore?
Who is that? Like, so Christians are fighting Christians because you're trying to be, friendly on a topic. Then you have other Christians picketing because their tradition says this. And non-Christians, or people who are just into spirituality, are kind of late into the game. We're like, we're just going to watch you guys kill each other because you don't even agree with what you believe about on this. So I think hopefully part of these episodes, part of our conversation is to get Christians to be like, even when we disagree, how about we don't do it in public when everybody realizes like we're fighting about stuff that maybe is not as central as we thought it was.
Well, and because it's sort of the social media world has made it the Wild West, that everybody has a gun, it's, even the who is speaking for us. Half the time you're spending your energy trying to define yourself apart from what is caricatured as the Christian /right /Republican /conservative narrative.
Yeah.
So it's confusing for everyone, us included.
Well, the simple definitions no longer apply, right? Because the world is not that clear anymore of which state is what or which province is what, because now the complexity of the diversity is making people very confused. And so to speak up for a group feels awkward to some folks, but necessary at the same time.
Yeah. So do you think, though, that one of the challenges we face is that oftentimes we have a perception of culture, that culture is a bad thing, and that we have to somehow, be apart from culture, or we have to change culture, that culture can't be something that we can sort of live into and even enjoy and say, okay, this is like, let's work with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the strengths of the Christian faith is its ability to not only understand Jesus from within a culture, so culture can be our friend, but also that there's something in Christianity that is cross-cultural. It goes beyond culture. That within a few years, a Hebrew faith is going to have to get translated into a Greek framework, and its most expansive years are in a Latin empire. So, I mean, that's such a powerful part of the Christian story. And, you know, we have a heritage that's taught us how to do this.
And like you said, the church finds itself always in a particular age, and actually every lowercase c church or faith community finds itself in a particular space, in a particular time, in a particular culture. And if we're not able to just even like talk about that and how do we see that in ourselves and around, we're going to create villains that don't exist and have oversimplified narratives of how we deal with
Straw man
it.
theories.
Yeah, and actually miss maybe what God is trying to do in these waters.
Thanks for checking out this preview. The first episode of the New Waters podcast will be released on Tuesday, October 23rd, and is brought to you by New Ventures, a ministry of the Christian and Missionary Alliance in Canada. Make sure to subscribe on your app of choice to stay up to date on future releases, and to learn more about New Ventures or to connect with us online, please visit newventurescanada.com.